And a very good morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world. Saddle up. Here we go. It's a Friday morning. Another weekend on our hands. And folks, I certainly hope that you do have a great one planned. A lot of holidays over the past little while. So I hope you've made the most of it. And as I keep saying here just about every morning, I hope that you're now ready to take on the world and build this beautiful little nation of ours. I'm George Grant, and this morning we are, let me tell you, I got a special guest this morning. She's sitting off to my left here, and you'll find out who she is in just a wee bit. But first, we're going to take a look at something I came across on the internet yesterday. You know, there's been a lot of talk lately about China making a lot of loans, and huge loans, especially to a lot of developing countries around the world. And what's happening is that these countries are finding out that they're just not able to pay their debts. And when they do, they wind up in the doghouse. Looks like China just gobbles them up. Some countries have lost seaports, airports, electricity companies, etc., etc. Well, you're going to hear a story this morning about how China is investing billions of dollars in Africa. In addition to that, something else that I came across yesterday was a piece on Facebook from our good friend Randall Robinson. Boy, is he ticked off. Randall went to a bank to make a deposit and discovered that he has to pay $1.50 for every check that he deposits in his bank if that check originated at another bank. Yeah. So he got annoyed about that and posted something on Facebook. I have since been in touch with someone from the Grenada Bankers Association because I wanted them to respond and explain to the people, you know, what's going on here. And hopefully before the end of this day, I contacted them yesterday, and hopefully before the end of this day, we will be hearing from them. Then, of course, we have the national report. As I mentioned, the GIS is back at work. Now, mention to you that I have a special guest this morning, home for the holidays. Yes, sirree. Anthea is in the house. Anthea is a Grenadian who lives in a place called Decatur in Georgia, and came down, spent some time here over the holiday season, had a blast. Well, we're going to find out what sort of mischief she got into during her visit. If I'm not mistaken, she's going to be taking off tomorrow, okay? So there is your rundown for this morning's program. Let's get right into it. First, China investing billions in Africa. Here's a report from an organization called Now This World. The report is done by a young lady by the name of Kimberly Avalos. It is captioned, China is investing billions of dollars into Africa. Why, you ask? Well, here's why the country is funding massive infrastructure projects in that continent. Check this out.
China has invested billions of dollars into the continent of Africa to build massive infrastructure projects. Much of this infrastructure is part of China's Belt and Road Initiative, an estimated $1 trillion plan to connect the country to trade routes all over the world. African leaders like Kenya's Uhuru Kenyatta have favorably compared China's investments to earlier projects built by colonial powers.
Where the old railway was built by force and violence against the wishes of those whose land it divided, the new railway is built by consent and partnership, both between ourselves and China, and between the governments, which will prosper and profit by it.
But is China's investment in the continent actually a win-win, as some African and Chinese leaders have said? Or just a new form of colonialism on a continent that's experienced so much of it? In this episode, we're examining China's Belt and Road Initiative and what it might mean for Africa. While China's Belt and Road Initiative was only proposed in 2013, the country's first infrastructure project on the African continent was built decades ago. The Tazara Railway, completed in 1976, was built to connect copper mines in Zambia to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania's former capital. The Tazara Railway was the first infrastructure project built on a pan-African scale. China's Belt and Road projects will be designed with this scale in mind, creating new trade routes within and between African countries. In 2017, a Chinese firm opened a railway network in Kenya, connecting its capital Nairobi to the port city of Mombasa. There are already plans to extend this network into South Sudan, Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi. China, through its public and private sectors, has already loaned about $132 billion to African countries from 2006 to 2017. Many observers worry that African countries won't be able to pay back these debts, placing them in what's been called a, quote, debt trap. The Jubilee Debt Campaign, which campaigns for poor countries' debts to be canceled, estimates that about 20% of debt held by African governments is owed to China, making it the single largest lending nation. For comparison, 35% of African debt is owed to multilateral global institutions like the World Bank. Earlier waves of Chinese firms that invested in Africa made mistakes that caused problems for those countries' governments. Starting in 2005, tens of thousands of workers from China poured into the West African country of Ghana to take advantage of a gold rush. This eventually provoked a local backlash due to accusations of illegal mining, inflaming tensions between Chinese miners and the local government. Many observers have pointed to projects like this as examples of China exploiting Africa for its natural resources through, quote, neo-colonialist behavior. However, other observers contend that the majority of investment from China has largely avoided creating the problems seen in Ghana's gold mines, precisely because resource extraction has not been the main focus of other investments. In fact, the #1 industry for Chinese investment has been the service industry, according to IMF economist Wenjie Chen. She also points out that the countries where China's investment has been largest include those without abundant natural resources, such as Ethiopia and Kenya, in addition to resource-rich countries like Nigeria. Ultimately, African governments may feel that the risk of accumulating debt is outweighed by the benefits of new infrastructure. The China-Africa Research Initiative found that roughly 40% of China's loans between 2000 and 2015 went towards paying for energy projects, and another 30% went toward modernizing transportation on the continent. These loans were set at relatively low interest rates and with longer periods of time to pay them back. The Center for Global Development crunched the numbers on debt to China as a result of the Belt and Road Initiative and found that 8 of the 71 countries involved in the project were particularly vulnerable to getting caught in a debt trap. Of these 8 countries, only 1 was in Africa, Djibouti, a port country that's also become a military strategic point for China. The other 7 countries are in Europe and Asia. Nevertheless, China has denied engaging in debt trap diplomacy.
我要强调的是，共建“一带一路”是开放的合作平台，秉持的是共商共建、共享的基本原则，没有地缘政治目的。
In an attempt to strengthen this collaboration, China has also promised to align its goals for the Belt and Road Initiative with the African Union's own development goals of greater interconnectivity on the continent. However, these promises have yet to be outlined. Ultimately, China's push in Africa may be seeking to increase the country's influence rather than reap financial gains. Its investments are already strengthening China's alliances with African governments to China's benefit. Every African country but Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland, has cut ties with Taiwan, a prerequisite for diplomatic relations with mainland China. Some observers think that as African countries rise economically, they could actually have the upper hand by the time they negotiate payments back to China. This explains why African leaders have been so confident in calling Chinese investment a win-win. But only time will tell if their long game pans out.
Okie doke. So there you have it. That's your report on China's major investments into Africa. Now, at the top of the program this morning, I mentioned to you that our good buddy Randall Robinson is peeved. I mean peeved. And if you're not sure what Georgie Porgy's talking about, I want you to stop for the next 2, maybe 3 minutes or so and listen to him. I'm still hoping that later on today I will receive word from the Bankers Association. I'd like to have a little chat with them. You know, there may be legitimate reasons why they have to impose the charges. Have you noticed the number of charges the banks have been imposing in recent times? There's a lot of people a little bit ticked off. Anyhow, here goes Randall. He posted this on Facebook yesterday. I spoke with him, and he is prepared to sit and talk with somebody from the Bankers Association. But right now, I'd like you to see the little clip that he posted on FB yesterday. Here goes.
Good morning, folks. Happy New Year. Now imagine my shock and horror this morning when I got to my bank to deposit a check. I was informed by the cashier that to deposit a check from another bank now costs $1.50. Could you imagine that? Now let us consider that this bank may deposit on people will deposit to this bank probably in excess of 1,000 checks for the day from other banks, because not every business has an account in every bank, and they will deal with customers from across the spectrum. So a business like a supermarket, right? Like the Indian stores perhaps, and people like Hubbard's and Huggins and all of those other companies like that, they do a lot of business via check. They now have to pay to deposit those checks $1.50. So suppose the bank, let us say, on average, processes from other places 1,000 checks for the day. That is $1,500 for the day, multiplied by 250 working days of the year. That gives us a total of $375,000, brothers and sisters, that these banks are just put into their bottom line. Somebody needs to explain why these charges have come on board. None of the banks is making a loss. So why are we being taxed by the banks to do business with them? It is time the Bankers Association come out and explain to the public of Grenada why these new charges are being applied, especially in light of the fact that they are already making profits, brothers and sisters. I think it's only reasonable for us to try to understand what is taking place. We have to start asking questions as citizens. We cannot continue to sit down and take our debts like sheep. So I am asking the Bankers Association to come and explain to the public, if not to the public, to me, why I must be paying $1.50 to deposit a check into my account because it comes from another bank. I need to understand that. Thank you very much. And I hope you all understand where I am coming from. Take care, God bless, and I'm wishing you all a prosperous new year.
There he is, pilgrims. A little bit peeved? Yeah, I'd say so. Randall Robinson. And I don't know if we get the comment from the Bankers Association later on today. I'll run that for you on Sunday morning. By the way, remember to like and share today's program. Would appreciate that. Folks, it's now here coming up on 16 minutes after the hour. We're going to take our first little break here right now. And then we'll come back with the National Report.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Speyside.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
With free island-wide delivery, Hubbard's Building Supplies and Lumber Departments continue to provide the best quality lumber, steel, tiles, plumbing materials, electrical and general hardware supplies at competitive prices. We continually consult with builders, homeowners and contractors to improve product range and services. Enjoy discounts where applicable, including the use of credit and debit cards. At Hubbard's Building Supplies, Grandance and Lumber Department, Caranage, we offer quality service, affordable prices, giving you the convenient, reliable, free island-wide delivery. Call 440-2087 for all your home improvement and building solutions.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Okie dokie. Just before we fire up the National Report from the GIS, let me say good morning to the folks out there on Facebook today. John Kennison is saying good morning from parish number 7. Bonjour, Jean. Veronica Sandy is also saying howdy, and so is Lydia James from a very cold Canada. Lydia, today is what? The 4th of January. Saddle up, my friend. Got a long way to go. Kester DeCoto. Now, I'm not sure. I think this may be the first time I'm seeing Kester. I could be wrong. But Kester DeCoto here, in response to the piece from Randall a couple of minutes ago, he says, how do you expect them to pay for the employees? We have to start saving again. Okay, Kester. Let's see your piggy bank. Folks, here comes the National Report.
Another success story recorded under Grenada's Citizenship by Investment program. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the news in detail for Thursday, 3rd January 2019, I'm Delroy Lozan. Grenada's Citizenship by Investment program has recorded another success story with the opening of the Hideaway True Blue condominium in the south of the island. Construction on the $21 million project began in February 2018, and 10 months later, the 60-bed, fully furnished condos were opened. Local investor Grenadian-born Richard Nixon says the condos are presently 100% occupied, as it has been designed to meet the needs of students at the nearby St. George's University. He gave an overview of the project.
There are 14 studios, 16 single-room studios, and 14 two-bedroom units, a gym, and a concession store located in the basement. We have a total of 60 beds, of which all are currently tenanted. All units are fully furnished, each with a small patio and view. The resident will only have to bring their linens, toiletries, clothing, teddy bears, and so forth.
Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell says the opening of the Hideaway condominium speaks volumes to the level of confidence investors place in Grenada.
The more we create this opportunity and we bring benefits to the people, the more we see others coming. Because the safety of this country, the peace and order, is a critical factor. Look forward to the second phase and to other activities that will be taking place in this, around this section of our country and other parts of the country.
Nixon encouraged locals as well as foreign investors to take advantage of Citizenship by Investment program.
I'd like to publicly endorse the intent of the program because I've seen and experienced the benefits it can bring. This is a program also for Grenadians and not as perceived by many being reserved for foreign investors. At this time, the Act does not discriminate on who can benefit from this program. However, it would be instructive for a special set of incentives which should be afforded to naturally born Grenadians to make getting involved in the CBI business a little bit easier and preferential. In the Caribbean CBI world, this is one of the few projects which have been fully constructed from scratch and completed on schedule and within budget by a naturally born citizen of that country.
Manager of Cricket West Indies, Grenadian-born Roy Lewis, wants Grenadians to throw their full support behind the regional team, which will play 2 one-day international matches against England on February 25th and 27th. England arrives in Barbados on January 11th, and the Windies team will be in a short camp from January 17th. During the tour, the teams will play 5 one-day internationals, 3 tests, and 3 T20 matches.
We want the Grenadian public to support, make them feel welcome. We're going to come back to Grenada for many, many matches, because that in itself is going to help the young cricketers of Grenada to rub shoulders with international cricket and see how international sportsmen operate. Because I'm planning to invite people down to come and watch the practice session. You wouldn't be able to probably get into the dressing room, but come, who can bowl, we probably will bring them to bowl in the nets. And it is important to do that. So I'm encouraging everyone, school children, bring out your grandparents, everybody, to be part of this big event.
Definitely. The former leg spinner from St. Andrew is looking forward to being on home soil as the manager of the team for the 2 matches.
After playing up through all the different age groups and touring all these different countries, and that in itself is one of the biggest achievements for me, to sit at home in a stadium where you'd have named a stand after me, and also Junior. And now I'm sitting there as the manager of the team. That's a great pleasure. I will definitely take a photo. I don't take a lot of photos, but I'll have someone take a photo of me sitting there as the team manager.
Of course you have
It's good to be home. I've been begging for that.
Lewis says the regional side will go all out to give a good account of itself during the tour.
We will ensure the people of the Caribbean that we're going to fight for West Indies cricket all the way through, and ensure that we make the people proud with some good performances on the field, and also what we can do off the field, to support any organization or group of children who are interested in getting to know the players and, relating with them and, bringing people together as we tour the region. We will promise some good performances.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
We're back with you to continue the work. We need you to improve our Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique.
So how can we invest more in the sporting arena to bridge that gap for a lot of young people?
I think there should be more
forums like this.
We need to find a way in which to combat that. Now,
join us for the next Contributors Forum on Tuesday, January 8th, 2019 from 7 p.m. at the Croshu RC School in St. Andrew.
Welcome back. The Royal Grenada Police Force has recorded a successful 2018 Yuletide Task Force operation. That announcement by ACP Jesmond Prince during a press conference held at the police headquarters on Thursday. The briefing was to update the public on the just concluded Yuletide operations. Traffic arrangements, vehicle theft, and efforts to minimize crimes throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique were some of the areas discussed. While there were some challenges, he is satisfied with the results of the operations.
From the intent, we see that our plan was going to be, we were going to be challenged with the number of activities that were going to happen around the island during that period of time. And so we anticipated that the challenge was going to be great, and with the support that we got from all the departments within the RGPF, we were able to, at this stage, say that the operations were a great success. Success from the fact that there were minimal criminal activities, almost zero major crimes. There were minor incidences, some of which were premised mainly on disorderly behavior and some offensive weapons. We also saw quite a number of vehicular accidents happening, even though we took the opportunity to sensitize the public in the area of road safety. We still saw quite a number of accidents happening. We also saw a new emerging trend of vehicular theft. Again, persons basically being careless about how they secure their property, and this is something that we spoke about from the onset.
ACP Prince commended the general public and the officers of the RGPF in the fight against crime throughout the country.
We believe that our operations for Yuletide were incident-free. We had a number of police officers on the street and in the communities checking and talking and engaging persons as much as possible. And we think that contributed significantly to the success that we are boasting about now. But let me hasten to say also that a lot of the success can be attributed to the relationship that we've forged with the public over the many years. We believe that the public assists us tremendously in following some of the directions and guidelines that we would have given, and also speaking with us and engaging us on some of the things that we eventually found out later on and had to have dealt with. We also want to attribute that success also to the men and women of the Royal Grenada Police Force who worked long hours, standing, moving around, and trying to ensure that things get done and people move about and do their business in a safe environment.
Meanwhile, Head of Traffic Inspector Linford Kingston says the RGPF recorded 457 vehicular accidents during the period November 1st to December 31st, 2018.
From the 1st of November to the 31st of December, we have recorded 457 accidents. Out of that 457, from the 21st of December to the 1st of January, we have recorded 97. And out of that 97, one of it is serious. And the drivers range between the ages within the 20s to 50s.
And finally in the news, Grenada is embarking on the second round of public consultations that will help shape the National Sustainable Development Plan being prepared to guide this country's development priorities over the 15-year period, 2020 to 2035. Round 2 of the consultations will begin on Tuesday, January 8th at the Croshu RC School from 7 p.m. It will target residents of Mount Fan, Hope, La Poterie, Mamacan, Croshu, and Felix Park, to name a few. The national plan will identify strategic priorities to address crucial social, economic, environmental, and other challenges that undermine Grenada's development. The ultimate aim of the national plan is to fundamentally improve the way we live, work, interact, and treat our natural environment. It envisions that by 2035, Grenada will be a resilient and prosperous nation. A series of consultations have already been done at the national and sectoral levels. That story signals the end of the national report for Thursday, 3rd January 2019. Now for a recap of the top story making the news. Another success story recorded under Grenada's Citizenship by Investment program, with the opening of the Hideaway True Blue condominium in the south of the island. That's the national report. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I'm Delroy Lozan, thanking you for joining us.
Okay. Here we are. Folks, there are a couple of comments that came in on Facebook just a short while ago. The first one had to do with the report or the comment made by Randall Robinson a little while ago. And she said here, and Anthea is saying here, this to me is blatant exploitation. So, do they want people to go to each bank they get a check from to cash or deposit it? Huh? So says Anthea. Good question. Hopefully that will be answered for you on the weekend. And then there's another interesting comment here, this time from Margaret out there in the Big Apple. Margaret says, read the story on these condos. You know, the condos, I think they're called Hideaway, that were opened up this week. Margaret says, GIS, and by extension, other reporters, please note, it is your responsibility to get things right, regardless of what someone else says. Okay? She says, based on the investor's description, these are apartments, not condos. There is a difference. It's called ownership. And she goes on to say, you rent an apartment, you own a condo. Everybody, please listen to Auntie Max. She has spoken. Now, let me take another little break here, and then we're going to come back. First of all, take a look. See this lady sitting here? See? Yeah, there she is. There she is. She's going to be joining us momentarily. That's good old Anthea. Right after this break.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. And we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And Grenlec is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
With fuel prices changing all the time, how do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while Grenada can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Alrighty, folks, we are back. It's now 22 minutes away from 10 o'clock. Just before I say good morning to Anthea here, a couple of comments on Facebook. First of all, Margaret says, well, hi, Anthea. Good to see you in the house at last. I found out a little while ago, Mags, her last visit was about 2 years ago. She's back. And I'm sure you've been following her escapades on Facebook. She's down here with a friend or a couple of friends, and they've been scooting around. They were not just here in Grenada, but they've also been up to Carriacou and Petit Martinique. We'll find out a bit more in just a wee bit. And then there's Veronica Sandy, who's responding to something you said, Margaret. Veronica says, that's right, Margaret. I was wondering if they know the difference between condos and apartments. Tell them, my dear sister. Veronica, don't worry about it. You can always count on Mags to tell us. Always, 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 always. Okay, folks. Now, let me say a very good morning to our friend Anthea. Take a look. There she is. Hello, Anthea. And how are you this morning?
I am fabulous, George.
Welcome to Grenada. 2 years. That's long enough.
I know. I wish I could come every year. I used to years ago. But
Yeah.
Whenever I come, I mean, it's home, it's exciting, but this trip here has been phenomenal. I had a fabulous, fantastic time.
I have noticed that you've been gallivanting all over the place and keeping us totally apprised on Facebook.
It was fun. It was
First
fun.
of all, before I get into this, where in Georgia is Decatur?
Decatur is close to Atlanta, which is the capital city.
Right.
And for me, it's like 15, 20 minutes to downtown,
Okay.
away from downtown. So it's in what we call DeKalb County, one of the larger counties. You have, Fulton County is where Atlanta is. I'm in DeKalb County. And so it's not that very far.
So is Decatur? It's not a city. It's like a suburb.
Decatur is there is also the city of Decatur. I live in Decatur, so let's say it's like a parish or town.
All right.
So there's the city of Decatur, because you have Decatur and then the city of Decatur. And but I live in Decatur itself.
Okay.
But, the city is of Decatur, they have a little city, and that's what
All right.
that is. Because you have different parts, like you have Stone Mountain, but it's in Georgia, Stone Mountain, Georgia, Decatur, Georgia, Ellenwood, Georgia.
Okay.
Like you see people in Ellenwood.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are the little...
Benedict Cador here says it's on the east side of Atlanta.
Yeah, it's heading east.
Yeah.
So you
okay.
take Interstate 20, so I live I-20 east. When I go downtown, I go I-20 west
Okay.
to downtown, connect to 7585, which is heading north to go to work.
All right. Now, when winter, actually, before we really got into winter, you guys started having some pretty crummy weather up there.
Yes,
I
we
guess
had
that
rain
sort of
and
prompted
stuff.
your exit.
Huh?
I guess that sort of prompted your exit.
No, actually, we were planning this about a year or so ago, that we were going to come home for Christmas this year, because I haven't been home in ages for Christmas.
Okay.
And I wanted to come back to that, to come back and experience Christmas home. But when I went to Petit Martinique, that was another experience, because that was my first visit. And it was so surreal. But George, could I ask a question?
Yeah.
You were talking about the banks and stuff.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed, there are no banks in Petit Martinique. Can the Banking Association explain why? Is it because they're not making money there that they don't have a bank there?
Small community. But let me tell you, Petit Martinique, I've been talking with somebody from Petit Martinique on this program for the past couple of days. Petit Martinique has money.
Yes,
They
so
have
why
money.
aren't the banks there? Because they can't make money off of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're going to try to take it off of us, $1.50 per check.
Yeah. I noticed your comment there. So
Yeah.
let's talk about this trip. You came along with a friend, and what have you guys been getting into since you got here?
Well, actually, my friend is from Petit Martinique. And they had some other folks, the Belmas, they lived in Georgia for a bit. And I visited their home. We had a lot of fun just joking and stuff. And they say, you got to come to Petit Martinique. I came in 2016. I didn't make it up there. Boy, I didn't hear the end of that. So I said, the next time I come to Grenada, I am coming. But I was worried about sailing up in the, around Christmas time. So she said, we're going to fly up. Even worse, the little plane, I was like this, oh my God. But I was on there. I closed my eyes until we landed. We went to Union Island because the plane landed there. Then we went on to Carriacou. Had to get the boat across.
So from Grenada, you went to Union Island?
Yes,
and then
because
to
we had one passenger for Union Island. So we had to drop that passenger off. And then we went on, but to Carriacou. And from there, because we had to take a boat, but my friend, being De Rocher, her brother he wins lots of regattas, Clayton De Rocher's sister. And so his grandson came to get us in Carriacou.
Okay.
And it was so amazing to watch these young people. It was a brother and a sister. And she was pulling those ropes when that boat came, and I was like in awe. Fascinating.
Yeah.
It's their way of life. But for
Absolutely.
me, my first experience, I was just fascinated by the whole thing. And we went across, and I'm in the boat going, oh my God. And say, ain't got no water there. That's just nothing. And I'm like, oh my God. So it was an experience. And when I got there, it was just, being in Petit Martinique is just surreal. It was a wonderful experience. The people are just together, everybody,
I can't remember its name, but there's a hotel, well, not a hotel, but a guest house right on the beach.
I
Did you
saw
go
it.
there?
Well, no, because I stayed with the family. I saw it, but where I stayed, it was as if it was a resort I stayed on. It was so, it's peaceful, it's quiet. The Atlantic side was over there, but it was just lovely. You could have gone in there. The serenity of it made you feel like if you were on a resort, really. But I did see the guest house right there by the beach. But, like I said, we stayed with folks.
Yeah.
And then there's another place up a hill. I think that lady was on your program before. I saw it when you went up there.
Oh,
some time
Odinga?
ago. Yes, I saw her place, her guest
Yeah,
house.
that's where we stay. That's probably where I'll stay again
Yes.
when we head back up.
But it was
there.
wonderful, absolutely delightful.
Beautiful little island, beautiful people.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I got the opportunity to go over to Petit St. Vincent. Oh my God.
I have anchored off Petit St. Vincent on yachts several times, and
You
I've
should
never been
go.
ashore.
We got a tour.
Nice
And
property.
There are no cell phones, there are no TVs.
Absolutely.
So you can just go and get lost into the beauty of it. Oh my goodness, it was just great.
That's something I find very attractive about the place. No television, no cell
Yeah.
phones. You want to be remote?
Yeah.
Go to PSV.
And they get a lot of repeat guests.
Absolutely.
So why do people come back?
Yeah.
It's working. You want food, you put up your flag,
Yeah.
they drive around, they bring you your stuff. I mean, that's the life. I don't play the lotto. If I did, I would come
Yeah,
back.
they're kind of pricey, but it's worth it from what I hear.
Yeah, it certainly is worth it. Yeah, so it was fabulous. Yeah.
Now, so that's your PSV and Petit Martinique experience. Let's talk about, I'm sure you got into some mischief down here.
Oh, in Grenada? Well, did I get into mischief? It was good mischief.
Okay.
Very good mischief. First, I think we came down on Boxing Day. So that was Wednesday, I think. Christmas was Tuesday.
Yeah.
So that night we went to Dodgy Dock for the street or the food fest, whatever they
I
had.
hear that's fabulous.
It was great. got my food, and it wasn't bad. You know, the prices, it was fine. You had these people come up, set up like a buffet style, not no, you know, it was formally, nicely done. And the good thing about it, what I appreciated, when you got there, the ladies who were taking the money told you to go and look and see what you want, get your prices, because if you bought extra tickets, you won't get your money back, which was great. So we got the opportunity we selected what we wanted, counted how much we were going to spend, got the tickets for those. And they had a band, and there was dancing, and people trying to dance, and there was entertainment looking at that, and then, you know, so we had a fabulous time. Went, so, and then after that, we just kept going. And Friday, we went to Prickly Bay. Another great experience. Wonderful. Went out all year's night to the yacht club. Had a ball, because I like to dance. And if the music is good, now if you're playing any old crappy music, I'm out. Because I get bored, I fall asleep, whatever, and I won't be around. But we did a lot of that.
You know, somebody invited me down to the yacht club on New Year's Eve. I didn't.
You should have come,
I didn't go. But I'll tell you what I thought was really funny. They say there's going to be a fete for old people down at the yacht club.
Well,
did you
the
feel
mature
old?
crowd.
It's a mature
people who
crowd.
appreciated good music.
Excuse me. Yes, yes. Yeah. No, I heard it was a
and
nice
I
time.
enjoyed that. Yeah.
So you guys got to see the fireworks down at Port Louis?
Yes, we had that too. They were there, and yeah. So I had 2 doses of the band Mystical. I think they're great. They did a phenomenal job. The DJ. The funny thing, I'll tell you a story. There's a song that Eddie Lovett sings called Mr. C.
Yeah.
Somebody gave me a CD that had that on it. So I have it in my car, driving to and from work, and I have it on repeat. You know, trying to learn the words because of that. I get there, the DJ start playing the first song he came up with was Mr. C. And I was like in hog heaven. I just it was great.
Something you're going to remember for a long time.
Yeah, because it's like, wow, look at this. So it was, for me, it was a very memorable time. So I have to say, and coming home and seeing people, despite all you hear, the negative side of Grenada, but to see our people, to see my fellow Grenadians making life out of whatever they can here, you know?
Yeah.
It was good for me to see that, and, you know.
Now you're pulling out when, tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I would imagine another visit has already been planned.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Goodness gracious, Grenada. Let me tell you, Anthea, you know, I never realized the beauty of this place until I came back here after staying away from here for 16 years without ever coming. You got to be crazy to stay away from this place for 16
I know,
years.
I'm ashamed now. Now that you say 16, I've been gone since 84.
84?
Right after the invasion.
Okay.
Yeah, I left.
So you were here for all of that?
Yeah.
I was fortunate. I left here in 70.
Yeah. I was here.
Yeah.
For all of that.
All right. So, well, let me see. It's 10 minutes to 10 on Friday morning. You're leaving here tomorrow, I would assume tomorrow afternoon?
Yes, tomorrow.
Okay.
Straight
Now,
into Atlanta.
Which means that you still got some time to scoot
I have
around.
one more dance to get in tonight. And
One more dance tonight? Where are you going tonight?
Prickly Bay.
Prickly
go back
Bay?
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Wednesday I went to Fantasia. So, you know, because I missed it the week before, so I got that in.
You're a hot foot girl.
It's okay. I mean, you have to, look, I don't walk too much in Georgia. I don't go to the gym. I don't. So this exercise, you have to last me till the next time I come.
I would imagine so, yeah. Dancing's a favorite pastime of a lot of people.
Yeah. And, you know, I don't go out up there like that unless we have a gathering, a group of us.
Okay.
Or we have a party or something. But I don't go out to dance up there because the music is different.
Are there a lot of Grenadians in Georgia?
In Georgia, yeah, we have a fair amount of Grenadians. And they come out mostly in August, the third Sunday in August, we always have a Grenada picnic. So you see them there, or sometimes there are 6 that would gather, they'd gather, have a cook or something together, it's a different thing. So it's a group of us, we get together. We may have a brunch, we may have just come together and sit down and chat. One day we decided we were having a brunch. So we went to our friend Adrian Church's house and we had our brunch, and they sat at the table from 11 o'clock for brunch. Did not get up till about 5 p.m. Just talking, all talking as you would say. We talked politics, we cracked jokes, we had everything. And then but it didn't matter. We were just having a great time. So those are the kind of things. So when I come, dance is my thing. So I get all the dance I could get in here, and that's all right.
Anthea, listen, man, it's been a real pleasure seeing you after 2 years. But before you go, I got to ask you this. The reason why I asked if there's a Grenadian community up there where you are is because I know that a lot of people out there in the diaspora never forget about home.
Right.
Okay. And when you guys get around and talk about Grenada, what's the feeling about Grenada based on everything that you're hearing about this place right now?
Well, most of the time, if I may say, I will bring up something because I listen to your program all the time. So I'm kind of keep up with what's happening home. So I might mention this happened or something. Somebody may have heard it. But generally, you have to say the true Grenadians. Because they are true Grenadians, and they are Grenadians who have traveled and they don't seem to remember, okay? And the ones that are true Grenadians, talking about home despite what is happening, it's a beautiful place.
Absolutely.
And they feel that when there's always that passion. When people coming home, it's like an excitement. You're going home, or you hear somebody's going home, and then you vex with them. Yeah. Because they're going and you're not going, or something like that. Yeah. But it's generally a very good feeling about home, always. But they have people, me, I ain't going, like that. There are some like that. But overall, the ones who love their carnival, the one who come for this or that, but generally, a true Grenadian is always ready to come home and in love when they get here, sorry when they go back, whatever. But that's it.
That's it. That's a lot, girl.
Yeah.
Anthea, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
By the way, there's a little note here on Facebook from Margaret. She's talking about you dancing. She says, hey, ain't nothing wrong with dancing. Yeah. A study just came out that of all exercises, it is most effective in preventing Alzheimer's disease.
See, right there.
So you ain't going to get too dizzy, are you?
Yes, and like I'm saying, based on that song Snoop Dogg is singing right now, I am living my best life. If you're breathing, you're achieving. So I'm achieving and having a great time.
Thanks a lot, my friend.
Okay, my dear.
And my regards to all the Grenadians living out there in Decatur.
Yes.
And we'll see you next year.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anthea Rollo. Let's take a break and come back.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
With free island-wide delivery, Hubbard's Building Supplies and Lumber Departments continue to provide the best quality lumber, steel, tiles, plumbing materials, electrical and general hardware supplies at competitive prices. We continually consult with builders, homeowners and contractors to improve product range and services. Enjoy discounts where applicable, including the use of credit and debit cards. At Hubbard's Building Supplies, Grandance and Lumber Department, Caranage, we offer quality service, affordable prices, giving you the convenient, reliable, free island-wide delivery. Call 440-2087 for all your home improvement and building solutions.
Hey Lynn,
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. And we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And Grenlec is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
With fuel prices changing all the time, how do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while Grenada can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Okie doke, folks, just about time to pull the curtain down on this Friday morning as you gear up for your weekend. However, before we go, let's take a look at something inspirational, which we do every day. Today's reading comes to you from the book of Job. Job chapter 24, verses 22, 23, and 24. But God drags away the mighty by his power. Though they become established, they have no assurance of life. He may let them rest in the feeling of security, but his eyes are on their ways. For a little while, they are exalted, and then they're gone. They are brought low and gathered up like all others. They are cut off like heads of grain. Ah, yes, Grenada. Ah, yes, there we have it. The reading from Job 24, verses 22, 24. My dear friends, on that note, Georgie Porgy is going to pull the plug here on this Friday morning. You have yourselves a great weekend. Please join me on Sunday for the next edition of Sundays with George Grant. And then, of course, next Monday morning for the next edition of Good Day